This is the property I rented, 188 Canning Highway, and it's the base for the Sun Food Project. And we grow food from waste and give it to charity. So this is the pergola I'm building. It's all built out of waste materials. I'm not allowed to bang a nail into the roof or the building, so you can see how I'm going to make this section up here where I'm just slotting it in. I'll fix it at that end down there. Those baths, they'll be our worm farm garden beds, so we just fill them up with lawn clippings, and they'll be raised up and put on proper structures. You can see there's one over there in the back corner, a mobile one we use for exhibitions, that green timber thing with a white roof on it, insulated roof. The pergola will be the structure for supporting the worm farms. We fill them up with lawn clippings. Everywhere we want to plant a plant, we put a handful of worm castings with the worms in it. The worms have already eaten the castings, of course, so they go straight to the lawn clippings. And by the time, say, the silver beet or whatever that we usually donate to charity are ready to harvest, the worms have turned all those lawn clippings into worm castings. It's pretty smart. So the other thing about the pergola is over there's north, so that's where the sun comes from, the heat in summer. So this will help shade the veranda of the house. And of course we'll have our intensive gardens right next to the building. And you can see over here we've got olive trees, and I'm pruning the older ones down so that they are easy to pick without climbing high up a ladder. And then we're planting hedges of them parallel to the house, 3 rows, and I'll prune them to a head shape so they're easy to pick, but also help cut out the hot easterly winds. In the background there you can see a lemon centre gum, and I've top pruned that too, so it doesn't get as tall as the ones in the background, and the council may not want to cut it down, or somebody won't cut it down. The sunflowers, well, they're another story. The people say, how do you grow such amazing sunflowers? These are looking a bit raggedy now, end of the season, but we don't do it. The cockatoos come in, the pink and red galahs, and they eat them, and they don't get all the seeds. The seeds drop on the ground, and when it rains, they grow again. Along that fence, we've also got lily pillies growing that I'm pruning to a hedge, and they're a form of bush tuck, and we've got a few other bush tucker plants around. You can see it's pretty easy to get here. Got a bus stop right at the front gate, and there's another one, lemon centre gum, that's been top pruned, and we call this the biggest stage in Perth. It's about 70 metres from that corner to that corner. The background music never stops, the beautiful sound of cars. And we've also got, that's our money tree hedge, or jade tree. It's hasn't started working properly yet. We could do with more money. And then we've got potato beds here, in the bricks over there, and then 3 of the 4 baths over there. This bed is rocket. That'll get picked and donated to charity. And here you can see we've got wattle trees. There's a bush tucker, more sunflowers, of course, and there's wattles growing down here. They're too small for you to see, and here's a few more. So this will create another layer of the windbreak for the property. This is the remaining bit of lawn, and This is our sweet potato bed, the rocket I told you about, and the remnants of the compost pile. It used to go from that left-hand bath at the back with the sweet potatoes in it, all the way through to where those plastic crates are over there, and just made from local waste. We use lawn clippings. Yes, we rent this property off the WA Planning Commission. They bought it to widen the highway, and we're gradually changing the look of the place. Got a couple of frangipani trees there, a couple over there. That wheelie bin there's full of, well, it was full of worm castings. It's only half full now. And these are the bricks and stuff we'll use for doing more stuff around the property. And it's also the base for Antar WA Home Office, and that's our Noongar recognition plaque. And this veranda here, it's getting pretty old, but the idea is to store rainwater. You can see the gutter up there. Store rainwater, and even cleaned up grey water under the veranda. We've got really good solid limestone foundations, probably about 700 or 800 high, and because there's all sorts of vents and stuff in the property, it's uninsulated. There's no heating, no cooling, and the idea of integrating the food system here with the house, in addition to the grapevine shading the house and the watering of the gardens in summer at night time, late in the afternoon, helps provide cool air through to the house. But the thermal mass of the water stored under here, we want to vent that up into the roof cavity somehow, and of course we can store the rainwater from the gutter here, the bits of it that don't have holes in it and leak, and yeah, so this is some more of the Antar Sea of Hands. This is the largest room in the house, and from in here we're looking at the grapevine from another view, so the camera's roughly pointing north here, and you can see the little mesh I put up off the overhang here's got grapes well established on it, and it's not summer now, but in summertime that provides a lot of cooling for this house, in addition to the other shading. We're in the process of, we've painted this room and turning it back into maybe an office or my location. We've pulled up the carpet. We're going to have to put quarter rounds because the carpet went under the skirting boards, but the house, this room will look lovely. And you can see this room here, it's got vents in the ceilings, so there's two of them. That's an unintended vent, and then there's vents all the way round. Lovely high ceilings, and again up about 700 or 800 off the ground. This is the back porch. It was an existing structure. I've got a little bit of a water leak I can't get rid of, one here and one over here, so I'm putting up some scrap metal to save that. We put that roof in, it's a sandwich, so it's got insulation in between two sheets of tin, and salvage tin of course, and insulation. And this wall is old garage door, and it'll get painted eventually. We just put up a gutter so we can collect rainwater. That's Marco's shed over there, another garage, roller door. We've collected plenty of stuff, and to a lot of people it looks like junk, but most of this stuff is usable. The old lemon tree out the back, and couple of big worm farm systems underneath the lemon tree. This copper coil came out of the Margaret River Bakery. It'll be used for creating hot water from composting lawn clippings. Plenty of glass there for making greenhouses and stuff. And this is the City of South Perth mulch. We use it to make a nice driveway in the backyard. And more olives. These bricks will make a footpath or driveway. Plenty of timber and metal and stuff here. More under there, bit of a mystery under there. And that shelter at the back, that holds the best timbers and windows and stuff that we're recycling. And then of course we've got more stuff here. And the idea is to build a little structure to shelter all these materials, but more importantly, free up the backyard so that it doesn't look like what it is. But all this stuff is the resources for doing the sustainability retrofit on the property. You can see under there the different bits of wood and stuff that we use if we have a wood barbecue. And the interesting thing is up here, the stoves and stuff I've collected. The part of our paint collection. Another shed full of stuff. Tiles for doing ceramic designs. Our own bamboo. Outside bath and shower. The shed that stores the Antarctica of hands. But the reason we came up here, this is the highest point on the property. So the logical place to be producing hot water from compost, because the bathroom's right next door and we've got this here. The other thing is, say with this bath, the plumbing pipes run down to the lemon tree. That's what Nachos did, Nacho Sonale from Argentina. And so it means we've got plenty of fall for cleaning up the grey water and running it through by gravity to our gardens. So that just gives you a little idea of what we're doing here and what the potential is. There's far more to it, of course, but we've covered some of the basics of it. You can see this will be the workshop. It's full of stuff, but lined timber wall at the back there. Yeah, plenty of stuff. Yeah. Now you may not see it, but that area over there, I call that my superannuation policy. So, even I can't see it at the moment, but it's full of stuff. But the that area, if you look at it, say from this perspective, where it runs its longest access, it's pretty well running north. So a great place for having a energy efficient building. And this house will be a one-room house, sustainable, and hopefully totally off the grid. And you know, in Australia, this is a beautiful old double brick house, but generally in Australia, the people built brick on the outside, even when they weren't building double brick, because it looked more impressive. And of course, the place to have the brick is on the inside, because then it helps store either hot or cold that's in your house or you've paid to generate through heaters or air conditioners. And to emphasise that we're going to have a pad with a full-size snooker table on it, sponsored of course, and we'll put a top over it, support it from the bottom so it doesn't get warped, because we're going to use that to support the trestling to build the house. And the reason for doing that is that to emphasise that the brick should be on the inside and not the outside. Now, normally when people are building a brick house, most people build out of bricks. Right? We've got bricks stashed around the place. That's just a little section. A lot of those are fire bricks, insulated ones. But you can see we've got a reasonable collection of bricks and polished granite and stuff. Another shed of building materials and the like. There's that pergola grapevine again. And the idea is to show people that the bricks should be on the inside limestone and more limestone. We're not going to use these bricks. These bricks will be used for garden beds and stuff like that. But some of our tools, a lot of them came off the verge. And the thing about it is, our bricks will be built out of cartons of Cooper's long necks. Now that may seem a little strange, but we've actually been sponsored before. We did a Cooper's Green Garden, I think it was about here. My mate who's passed away, Kim Boas, and his wife filmed and edited it for me, the Cooper's Green Garden. But being a South Australian, you have to put in a plug for your home products. So where the bottles start tapering down at the neck, you cut off all the cardboard of the carton around there, and the paper mache it along with other stuff and pour it into the remnants of the carton, and that means you've basically got a brick when it sets. And there's my gopher. I had an accident in my driveway with it the other day. So it'll go over there. When the bricks are set, you pour them on their sides, but before you let it set, you put the bottles on a bit of an angle, right? And then when they're all set, you need a bottom course, and then you put the bricks on their side so the bottles are facing like this. And all you have to do to have a beer at room temperature is take the cap off and it pours itself. And in the process, you're replacing liquid with air. It's on that sort of slope, so you got that thing working for your hot risers, cold sinks, for storing hot and cold in your wall, making your house more energy efficient every time you have a drink. I think it's quite smart. So we'll do an ad about building that house, but it won't just have Cooper's beer and a full-size snooker table in it. It'll have other stuff like maybe Macintosh or iiNet or even PCs if it came to the crunch. Decent music. And there's far more to the design than that. Passive cooling and heating, no refrigeration, all that sort of stuff. Just what we need rather than what we think we want.